Yo,
What's up, man?
it's election night.
What's happening, everybody? How y'all doing?
Yeah, that's a real good question, ain't it?
Everybody.
Is that a real good question?
This is like a Browns game over again, man.
Brother. Okay, where do we begin?
I don't even know, man. First of all, I'm happy we on, but Lord have mercy. I think Macklin said it best earlier. Macklin said, Pastor Macklin, shout out to him, said this election is like a class project. I know I done my part. I just don't know if all the rest of y'all done y'all's.
Right. Absolutely. You know, and I think that's what it's all about. You know, and I'm guilty of not doing my part in the class project, so I know all about that. I know all about not doing my part. But let's welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to Religiously Incorrect Special Election Edition.
My God.
Special Election Edition. Come on in, hit the share button. I know you're watching CNN and MSNBC and CBS News and ABC and NBC and Fox News if you dare, but tap in. I'm watching it. I got it on my one on here and one on here.
I'm watching right here.
We're following. So Biden has a close lead in North Carolina. It looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like he has a tight lead in North Carolina, at least right now. Ohio is up in the air.
Very close in Ohio. I'm proud of Ohio.
You know, Florida is lost. You know what? Florida.
I don't understand, especially the Hispanic vote and the.
Well, let's talk about the Hispanic vote for a second.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few things that a lot of people might not know. The average person might not know. Number one, most Hispanics who have come up here had to flee like socialist and communist countries.
Right.
So that socialist stuff,
it scares
them. You know, that plus a lot of Hispanics, Latinos, even Mexicans, whatever, highly religious.
Mm-hmm.
Highly religious.
Abortion is a no.
Pentecostal, Catholic, you know, very conservative family values. And I think that's probably a bigger hit of the Democratic Party taking people of color, which I know some Black people hate, for us to be included in the POC category, because that includes everybody. But that's a big hit if you want to broaden it that way.
Absolutely.
You know, and I might invite some of my I Vote Black people to join us, Jeff. I just might invite some of my I Vote Black people to jump in and join us. We'll just see. This is a free flow.
Bring Leah in.
Listen, bring Leah in.
Bring Leah and my wife. Leah and my wife, and it's gonna be on and popping.
So you know, the big states, you know, right now Biden is up, according to CBS News, 89-72. I don't know what everybody else is showing. You let me know if you see something different.
It's 89-72 right here on MSNBC.
Yeah, one of the big things that is probably going to hurt in some states and help in others is the early voting. So the way they're describing it, Jeff, is that if Biden has a lead and like 80-90% of that lead was in early voting, then that's going to come down when they start counting the today ballots. But if there are some of these states where Biden has the lead or Trump has a slight lead already, and the early voting is like 10%, 20%, and it's going to go up. So that could help him in some states. And I forget what CNN was describing, but we want you all to join in, like, share. If you see something out there, you see updates. This is a live running. We don't know how long we'll be on. I know you gotta go to work in the morning and get our kids up, but you know what?
This is after my bedtime, but this is important.
It's history, bro.
It's history, and you know, watching what all went down, watching the bus being basically pulled over and ostracized. You know, watching what's going on in the world, man. We have to be very just very particular and very, I think, like you said, this is historic, man. And I mean, I've seen, one thing I do want to say is I've seen more people today on Facebook who just refuse to vote than I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not down on anybody, but I'm very questionable.
I think it's become a fad. This is like the penultimate, bad side of so-called wokeness. There's good stuff. There's great stuff about being more aware and conscious of, policy and who we are and stuff. Then there's the other part of just being adversarial and contrary for the sake of it, having this sort of, fatalistic view, like nothing matters.
I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm not gonna say I agree with it. Because I don't. I don't. Let's just feel like I don't agree with the whole woke thing. I don't. But I can even somehow. I'm talking about those who are just ignorant, just not knowing, and just saying.
They're not even making a basic. They're not even making a comment.
Right, there's no argument. There's no argument.
Pastor Harrison says Biden is the projected winner in New Jersey. I do think he's going to overcome eventually the states that Hillary lost. I don't know which one. I think at least 2 of the states Hillary lost. Biden is going to get either Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, or Pennsylvania. I think he'll get at least 2 of them, at least. Absolutely. And he might hold on to North Carolina.
That has definitely been their plans to make up and do a lot better in the states that went.
Trumbull County went back to the GOP again.
Yeah.
So this is a nationwide, hopefully worldwide podcast, but we got to talk about Trumbull County politics. This is where Jeff and I live, and we have had a massive shakeup in Trumbull County.
Shake up.
Where Commissioner Dan Polivka.
Listen, remember I was just telling you not too long ago that, literally I saw his signs everywhere. I mean, I would have never, and I mean, like I said, I saw him down in Florida. I was like, Dan Polivka.
Right. Well, that's where he got friends down there. But some of I ran as a write-in last year. Against Dan Polivka, jumped in
last year, wasn't it?
Last general election,
right.
Last general election, 2016. Ran as a write-in. Mary, I can't remember her last name. Sweetheart, she passed away.
Mm-hmm.
But she ran and did very well. I was almost like spoiler. I got about 5,000, almost 6,000 votes, I think, just being a write-in. So I was proud of myself. But I made a comment to some Dems, and I want to say this. I'm going to say this publicly. I made a comment to some Democrats when I was sort of getting some calls from some big shots about, are you going to kind of shake up the black vote for the Dems, pull away from Dan, which a lot of black people supported Dan anyway. But I said, look, there's a lot of dissatisfaction on the ground here in Trumbull County. And Jeff, I know this. Matter of fact, you know this. Because you work in manufacturing, right. And I served manufacturing workers for 10 years working for the state of Ohio. And if you want to know why this area flipped last election, it's because if you watch 6, 7, 8,000 people come through your doors from Delphi and GM and GE and, the steel mills, Republic Steel and all those, these are some ticked off people. And at the same time, the Dems, particularly Mr. Polivka, was not going hard for the Democratic ticket, nor doing as much, I think many of them felt, as could be done. Right. And he was the party chair. I'm running against him being the party chair and all that stuff. And I said to a few Democrat just a couple calls, casual calls, I said, listen, if you try to protect the power structure here in Trumbull County, Hillary is going to lose Trumbull County.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to sacrifice the national for the local to keep the local in place, have at it. And that's what happened. I said, if you really wanted to show that you were going to continue to be a party of change, then you would get behind a new candidate, a fresh face, who is trying to upend what many of us are frustrated with, but they didn't believe we was frustrated. Now here comes Nikki Frenchco, a Republican,
right?
Who, honestly, my opinion is, there's a lot of Democrats in Trumbull County who are really Republicans, but they run Democrat because Trumbull County has been blue. But all they've done by carrying that GOP DNA is make it more comfortable and easier to vote for a Republican in the first place. And people were tired.
Right.
He was grinding. I didn't support him. She was grinding.
Scott Heater just asked, did Trump affect local elections in Trumbull County? I will say, as Pastor Todd just mentioned, I do. I'm bivocational. I'm a pastor as well as I work in a steel mill. And to be honest with you, it would be beneficial. It would literally be beneficial for me and my family to vote for Trump. I mean, it would. I mean, just to be honest, I've literally gotten a bonus for the last 4 years over the tariffs that he enacted. Obviously, you've seen the signs that my job has put up poster boards, and so. But for me,
the KKK camping out in your backyard, though. I mean,
that's my thing. That's my thing. That I voted morals instead of money.
Okay.
I think that we, is for me, it's more about my people, my faith, my morals over any type of money. It's just what has gone on and what has went down over the last 4 years over this administration. I just cannot see it, man. So
yeah. Right now, the New York Times has Biden up 131-98, and I think they tend to call things early.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty big. I mean, say that again. How much? 139?
131-98.
131. Yeah, okay. Wow.
So I'm going to read some of the comments. Trying to find out. Some people were commenting on the link that I had. Pastor Harrison says Biden has New Mexico. Somebody said that concerning the local race that it was a matter of time. She had a steady pursuit for a while now. She did. She was grinding all this time. So, oh man, that's crazy. That she was pursuing it heavy. And I know people say, I should run and all this stuff, by the way. Let me just talk about that right quick. What we said earlier about the black vote. I think the black vote, as much as people keep talking about the black vote doesn't matter or my vote doesn't matter, I think we're going to turn that into a self-fulfilling prophecy, and we're going to marginalize ourselves out of people caring much about our vote, particularly Democrats, and maybe Republicans just happy to peel some of us off because we're so undependable. And the younger generation is not as excited about voting as they should be, and there's so much dissension and argument. Older generation that was strictly dim and blue is dying off. So unless we get a new fresh energy, we're going to have some issues. So I'm afraid that with this Latino rise, that and this black inconsistency. I mean, I don't hear other communities, maybe because I'm not in another community. I don't hear that many other communities talking about what don't matter.
Right.
We're the ones like constantly beating ourselves up, calling each other idiots and all this other stuff because of what doesn't matter. So
I've seen a lot of idiot posts this morning. You're very blurry. I don't know if
you're clear to me, man.
Okay, but you're very blurry. That's what I'm
yeah. I don't know if it's on my end.
Okay.
But or your end or what, but if it's a little shaky for you all out there, apologize. We're doing our best.
We can hear you. So I just want to, I don't know if there was something you can do about it or not.
Leah has tapped in. We want to bring her in.
Let her in. Let Leah in.
We want Leah to tap in. And let me see. Are you here? What's up?
Ooh, hi, Leah. How you doing?
Hey.
You still rocking Ivo Black?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so they're saying that I am blurry. Maybe I don't know why I am blurry, but we'll see.
You're not blurry no more.
Okay.
Yeah, you better right now.
Okay, good. So, Leah, what's your take on tonight? Let's start with national. What's your take on tonight?
I think there's still hope. I'm not counting it out yet. I think I'm just disgusted that it's even close. I think that's still kind of like a referendum in my mind as to how, the society that we live in. So even the fact that it's still a nail biter after these 4 years. So everything that has transpired in 4 years and we're still, biting our nails. I just don't understand how this is not a unifying call for good humans. But it is what it is. So just keeping hope alive that we don't, I'm just keeping hope alive. Paying attention to the polls. And
what do you think this says about
it is what it is? I know, again, I've been saying it and it's not popular to say, but I've been saying it. But I don't know if you said it before I got on, Pastor Todd or Pastor Jeff, but if he gets back in, then at some point we are going to have to examine how we as Democrats, I'm not really a Democrat, I'm an independent, but going to have to examine how Democrats are culpable in that at some point. Like the candidate, the left is getting more and more radical not left. Yeah, the right is getting more and more radical as we see, and the Dems are not playing to win. They're putting candidates that nobody identifies with. So it is what it is. So we do a lot of finger pointing at our own selves in our own neighborhoods amongst each other as Blacks, but really Soccer Moms is about to decide this. Because that's who's going to decide this race. And it may not be like that if we actually energize some people who just traditionally don't vote, but we're not going to energize anybody with the candidates that we put up.
Are we,
that's my take.
As we do in so many instances, hiding behind peace in church and abortion and those various things as Christians, and not looking at the overall picture, the bigger picture? And do we expect these candidates to be our pastors and our saviors?
I don't know. I hope not. And I understand people's convictions, especially, Black people are a lot more conservative than what we think we are. So I definitely understand the convictions, even if I don't agree with them. I understand the convictions. So Black people are very conservative in social ways. But it's just like with anything else. It's looking at the whole picture. So looking at policies as they relate to abortion or as they relate to gay marriage, or as it relates to some of these like kind of core foundational things that a lot of religious African Americans identify with. But then you look at the humanity aspect of it, and it's just like, the kids in cages, the rolling back of every single last possible civil rights legislation that took us 60 years to enact. So it's a conundrum, I guess, but I think we just have to look holistically at the whole picture to make informed. And I think the thing is informed decisions. Our community don't make informed decisions. We make a lot of emotional decisions.
I agree. Pastor Harrison said, too much focus on the middle class and not enough on the poor to pull them into the middle class. I can agree with that. I think a lot of what we keep saying is, and we talked about this with Darius last week or the week before, right. You know, the hood before the election is going to look the same after the election. And until there's a tangible effect, until there's a tangible difference, white or black people are not going to see the need to really come out and vote. But at the same time, we are only so much of the electorate, period. There are certain places where we really matter, but we're not the majority here. We're not even close. Not even close. So, I mean, I wonder, you know, myself, like you said, if the Dems, they just don't play to win, like they're not willing to get grimy enough. Then, so here's my question is, where are these candidates?
Hillary Clinton had 232 electoral.
Where are these candidates at? That we're saying that the Dem candidates are, because I think Bernie would have lost too. I think Bernie would have lost. I think Elizabeth
last year or this year?
This time. I think Bernie and Elizabeth would have lost this year. I think Biden was the best chance, given the temperature of the country. I think Biden is the best chance. I'm not saying he's not going to win. I'm saying he is the best.
Yeah, I mean, as far as a numbers game, because again, like we said, it's soccer moms is about to decide this, not black people, not minorities. So if all of us went out and voted for a progressive candidate, the reality of the situation is you got to flip a lot of folks in the middle. But it's just a conundrum because you just get sick of hearing it. So I guess I just don't have a fair understanding of what our power really could be if we really did have somebody who would energize those of us who are disenchanted with the vote. I really don't even.
I think the problem, a lot of the problem lasted in the fact that we did take all of our power and we put it behind President Barack for 8 years. And a lot of people were and are disappointed in what ended up happening in those 8 years. And you know, and I mean, not that there's a lot that he could have done on his own, but a lot of them, from what I read and from what I see, are disappointed in the fact that he didn't make the changes that they thought was necessary.
So I would like to switch gears here. What does this say about polls? What does it say about polls? I mean, I'm not saying that this can't, or are we just jumping the gun because we don't really have enough information right now, and everybody is, you know, going crazy. There's still a lot to be counted. Or are the polls just garbage and we need to stop with polls altogether? What do y'all think?
The polls have always been, I mean, obviously until you get to that last vote is counted, I mean, we can look at these polls and I mean, over the last couple of days, it has been projected that you know, he was up, and now we're still in this tight race. And like Leah said, you know, we don't understand why we're still in this tight race. Why it's even this close at this point?
Oh, I understand.
Oh, yeah, I understand.
I understand. America's a very racist country, but yeah, so I understand why we this close. It's just disheartening.
Yeah, Scott said we ignore the margin of error. I agree. We ignore the margin of error. That's true. But what I will say is, I think we're just talking now where there is so much outstanding right now. You know, this is really going to come back to those Midwestern states. And I really hope that the margins that I voted for Biden, obviously. I really hope that the margins that they talked about in Wisconsin and PA, he supposedly was up. I know it tightened, that will hold. Because right now, you know, look a little scary.
When you look at the entire map, a lot of what's not there is very Republican.
Well, were they dreaming too much about Georgia and Texas and Florida? Mm-hmm. Do you think the news wanted that to be the narrative that they kept pushing us? So now we're looking at it as we're losing, but really maybe that's not true. These are states he's supposed to win.
Right.
We're the ones that kept saying, oh, they might go purple. This might be the time Georgia comes into play because of Stacey Abrams, or Texas because of Buttigieg, and Florida. Maybe the media is hyping this up too much, and we're eating that up, and now we're all deflated. I think it's too early to be deflated, because my daughter said the most intelligent thing in the world when they called the first state Indiana, and they go, Indiana's votes go to Trump, and Elias just goes, oh man, Trump is losing, and my daughter goes, no, that's just the numbers they reported. That's just the number. The score is there. We just don't know it yet.
Right.
So this isn't like a football game where, I think that's why we're so stuck on these polls, because the polls are supposed to tell us what right now is supposed to feel like, but we're so off. But the results are in. There's nothing left to do but count. And hopefully they let them count. But London was like, no, nobody's winning or losing like on a rolling scale right now. That's how the media paints this. It's really just counting it up. Somebody's already won.
Right.
Somebody's
already won.
So do we need to change the way we approach this? Like it's some kind of football game.
Right.
Wait to the very,
they're doing this for ratings. That's why we're all tuned in.
Yes,
Right?
I was about to say it's a ratings game. It's political theater.
Well, they got some audience members here.
They're winning. They are winning.
But we got to have the country, the whole West Coast. I think we got quite a bit to go. Somebody said Florida, the Cleveland Browns, are the Electoral College. So, Leah, bring it down to local. What is this saying about Trumbull County? We're basically just a Republican county now, with some Democratic figureheads.
Yeah, for sure. What else can you say about it except what you just said? Really, like we saw in the commissioner's race, and like we said when we first, even the precipice or is even getting involved in I Vote Black, it's the same thing as far as the Democratic ticket is just awfully homogenous. It's a very homogenous ticket, and I said it before, I honestly feel as if there are many here, even if they're not Republican, or even if they don't go Republican, even though the climate in this area is just a Republican climate, even if they don't go Republican, I honestly feel that there are so many on the Democratic ticket that are only there just because they know that that's how, historically, that's how they got into office. But that might even be changing.
Yeah.
We see the kind of a turning of the guards even in that. So I'm thinking that we may even see a Republican running for mayor. I'm thinking that we may start to see more.
I might run for mayor as a Republican.
Oh yeah, they are. So I just honestly think that we are going to start seeing a lot more Republican candidates. All of these unchallenged races, I think people are going to be okay with running Republican because that's what they are anyway, even when they Democrat.
But they may not have any incentive to actually switch over.
Right. I just, when we look at Trumbull County, and we're all of us are staying in Warren. It's so much bigger than Warren.
We're 10%. Black people are 10%.
Right. You're talking. When you're talking about Champion,
8.9 actually.
8.9. Wow.
Yeah. It's like 10.5% minority total. So I've always said we overestimate ourselves. We all go to the same churches and banquets, and we think we're all there is.
Right.
And I think we do that nationwide too. Black Twitter, Black Facebook, Black social media might have actually skewed our views of ourselves more than we ever have before. And maybe that's the difference. The more I think about it between us and our parents, and we wonder why they operate the way they did, I think they lived in a world where they knew where they stood numerically.
Right.
Where we are living in a black bubble via social media, our communities, and we are convinced that because everybody else is kicking it, you know, in our world, watching the BET Awards and all this other stuff and commenting on the same stuff, Black is King. We think everybody's talking about what we're talking about and everybody's concerned what we're concerned about. And we have enough people around us who agree with us, our white allies. We got enough people, liberals around us who make us feel good. We're actually maybe in a bit of a black delusion.
Wow.
Black bubble. And we watch it every election. In every election, our bubble gets burst. That's becoming my take. I'm not saying Biden can't win. I'm just saying we're, as somebody else said, like you said, Leah, a small part of it.
Yeah, a small, super small part. And we do so much fighting amongst each other.
Yeah.
That we forget that we're a really, really, really small part of it.
Yeah. Well, I think this is going to be the close race we were hoping it wasn't going to be.
Yep.
I was hoping something was going to break and we could all go to bed.
Yep. I'm truly disgusted. Even though I knew it, I mean, it's not like it's a surprise, but you know, when you're not surprised, but you still disgusted. I'm just so entirely disgusted that it is a close race, even though I had no expectations of it being anything other than, but it's just, yeah, I'm just really disgusted that it's a close race still.
Your wife said America is trash.
Tiffany.
I try to go back to Nova Scotia. I'm going to try to go back to Africville. I'm going to call my Canadian black pastor to see what.
And it's funny because we were all hoping for that close race. And like I said, I had a guy at my job literally going around offering people to bet $250 that Trump was going to win. I mean, they're literally that sure. This is how sure white America is. So,
yeah. But Ohio, that is a big, man, this is hilarious. Frank Fuda is doing whole posts about congratulations, Nikki Frenchco. Yeah, that could have been me. That could have been me. I should have answered the phone call last year.
Oh man.
Yeah, they wouldn't vote for me like they vote for her. She had Republicans and some of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm gonna say something real crazy now. People talking about she crazy. We like crazy. We don't care. We don't care. Dysfunctional or rumors. Who cares? I mean, we don't like that, but it's true. It's true.
I thought crazy was people riding past your house when you were
right. Coming to my job. So Arizona's leaning in Biden's direction. I think we lost Leah for a second.
Oh yeah, my thing. It's lagging a little bit.
Oh, okay. Well, so Jeff, what are we gonna do, man? Are we gonna have to do another update after the Civil War starts, or what? I mean, what do we?
Man, listen. You know, wait. I think if he wins, I don't think we're that bold as they were. You know, I don't think we're that bold to really be upset. I think we're gonna go back to living our day-to-day lives, normal que sera, whatever will be. But if it would have been the opposite way around. I think that's why Walmart was putting their guns away. I think that's why people were boarding up their stores. Not if Trump win, but if we would have won, if Biden would have won. Well, so
I think he still can. I think that
I'm hoping he do. I'm definitely. What I'm saying is,
Leah, do you think Biden can still win? Do you think Biden can pull it out, Leah?
Oh, did y'all say?
Yeah.
He said, do you think Biden can still win?
I don't know. I hope. but it's looking kind of, it's looking suspect.
Iffy-ish.
Iffy-ish, yeah.
So
It's iffy-ish right now.
It cut out when you were talking. And I just kind of bucked my eyes like, well, Pastor just said it. I didn't. They ain't worried about us. That's not who they worried about. We are not about to be the ones.
right.
Nope. They worried about the ones that's being emboldened. And we see it more and more every day. Before that's not us that they worried about.
Yo, this is real. I'm looking at numbers right now. Lloyd Chick beat Blair out. Blair's the one that took the black dude's seat.
Right.
Mhm.
Wow.
O'Brien was only up on Yoder by like 300 votes. Michael O'Brien.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is Loychek the one who was doing the weird gun?
Yep.
He won.
Oh God, he won.
He won.
Oh no, the weird gun.
Yeah. Listen, they
advertising.
are contesting the 32nd. It's O'Brien versus O'Brien. Who was the other Sean? Who was going against Sean O'Brien?
Let me see.
That's only 600 votes off. O'Brien versus Yoder is only 300 votes off.
Wow. Who's winning that? Who's winning? O'Brien.
With them right now, but that might be recount mode. Who knows? That might be mail-in. That could. You know what? You know what's funny? I think something I saw, and I think that maybe either we're not in the bubbles of conservatives, in the same way we're in our own bubbles, like I said, and we're talking early. They were running early too, especially in counties like ours. Now, maybe in the big cities, like Atlanta, early was hitting all black. But I think when I saw them lines, it was like 15-1, and I'm not just saying white to black. I'm saying conservative, it looked like, to Democrat.
Right.
So I think Biden's going to pull it out. But I think areas like ours, the proof is in the pudding. Donald Trump has opened up something, a lot of boldness. And I think a lot of Dems here in Trumbull County showed their hand by not being as anti-Trump as we like them to be, because they never really were.
Right.
Given a lot of space here.
Mm-hmm.
That's me.
I agree.
Definitely agree.
But all he needed to do was flip a few and take a few from Trump, and I still think he can do that. I do. I think Biden can do that. I think he will. I think the results will bear that out. You got to remember, Trump's taking all these 4-person, 6 electoral votes in Utah.
Right.
They're within about 50,000 votes of each other in North Carolina, but Trump has the lead right now. So that's where absentee and mail-in. So what if North Carolina becomes the battleground lawsuit state instead of Pennsylvania? North Carolina might be the spot that they fight over now instead of Pennsylvania.
I mean, like you said, though, like all of these pundits, again, it's good. It's great political theater. But if 2016 didn't teach us anything, you can't pay them. I mean, you got to take it with a grain of salt. Like you said, we rely heavy on those polls, just because that's their job, is to create the narrative. But they don't know. We found that out in 2016. We really just don't know. We just got to wait and see.
Yeah.
And they take educated guesses, which is cool, but we don't know.
This is telling me. Well, I know, Leah. I know you're ready to head out. All I gotta say is, y'all don't read too much into this, but Ohio's telling me something that I need to think about, because they turning.
What you mean? They tell.
Ohio's telling me something.
But it may not. Ohio is
Todd, we ain't going nowhere.
Just wearing thin on you.
Hey, listen. I see them sheets out of my front yard.
I feel it. I feel it for sure. Yeah, for sure. I say all the time, where do we live? And then in Trumbull County, it's just like, where do we live at? Like,
Go to Wakanda, but I'm about to just go to Wakanda and call it a day.
Better go back to Youngstown.
Listen, outside. All you got to do at least you dodging bullets from each other down there, though. I mean, so Leah, we thank you for stopping in. Representing I Vote Black. We appreciate it. Everybody, give it up for Leah. I know they can't hear your claps, but we appreciate you. We'll watch all night long. Everybody, give it up. Take care. Have a good night.
Take care, Leah. Well, one of the things my wife was telling me was that I'll rather, Tiffany, if you're still listening, who was it that they made? They told them to get the mail-in ballots right away, and Trump's son basically ignored that thing. So they did not do that what they were supposed to do. It's so much. I watched earlier, and they talked about them and all these. They're bringing these people in from nursing homes. They're bringing people in from nursing homes to vote. So I think people are they're doing what they got to do, man. And I don't know if we're playing that game. I don't know if they're playing that game.
You mean what do you mean by doing what they got to do?
I mean, bringing the older Republicans in, from nursing homes, that just busting them in to vote and things of that nature. I don't know if we're doing what we got to do to win these elections. I don't know if we're once again, we shut down. They shut down the voter getting people to vote because of COVID. Right. It was Trump and them kept on going, man. They kept on.
You're right about that. I mean, they kept. You're right. They did. They kept going, and they said that he didn't do door to door. The Democratic Party didn't do a lot of door to door. And I think,
I applaud them on trying to be, healthy and but I think at this point, it's a gloves off type game. You know what I mean? You're dealing with somebody who's radical.
Yeah. So I mean, one thing I do hope, Jeff, is no matter what, I hate to say it like this, but I'd rather Trump just win fair and square than just be a bunch of lawsuits and chaos. But I think that Biden's strength might come on the back end, and that might create a problem. Because it's going to come on the back end if Black people did and Democrats did make up the bulk of those absentee votes, mail-in votes that take a while to be counted, that might shore up some things.
Right.
At one point we were talking about how many outstanding absentee ballots there were sitting around in Ohio. Gelada was telling us how many were sitting around in Ohio. That's major.
Yeah. That's
major. So now CNN is projecting that the race may come down to Arizona, PA, Michigan, and Wisconsin. And Trump, they've only got 28% reporting in Michigan, and I don't believe that really accounts for any of the Detroit area or anything right now, like the major urban centers where you're going to see the big bumps. I don't know where Philly is at in the PA polls just yet. I haven't been paying too close attention since we've been talking, but
I saw Philly was doing well at least for us at early, and that was earlier though. That was earlier,
right?
And say where we at now.
I mean, CNN is showing 98, 95 Biden. New York Times, I'm gonna refresh. They're showing 131, 108 Biden. I don't know what they've given over that CNN didn't.
But did you see that with my wife? Just the Trump appointed head of the Postal Service ignored the order from the federal judges. Like I said, they got gloves off right now, man. They got gloves off.
Yeah. So I guess if you win what you expect to win, Biden still wins. If you win what you're expected to win, because Biden was expected to win, the Midwest back. Ohio might not be a part of that now since we're just bums, but Michigan, Wisconsin, PA grabbing Arizona, it might take him where he needs to be. Now, I might have to get on those apps and play with the Electoral College thing and see where that goes out, because I'm tired of watching John King or whoever this is and Wolf Blitzer interrupting him all the time. I was about to punch Wolf in the face. This cat won't let nobody talk. But it's going to be a long night, man. And you know what? They promised us it was going to be a long night, and we didn't want to believe it.
It might be a
long week.
Yeah, it might be a long week. It could be, when it's all said and done. I mean, we might not find out till Friday. So, and I mean, I'd rather wait and make sure it's all done correctly. And it's.
This is the worst case scenario for us. That would involve that you lose Florida, you lose Georgia, you lose Texas, you lose North Carolina, you lose Ohio, and then you lose Pennsylvania. This is your worst case scenario. If all of that went wrong for Biden, the path they could still take that would get them to 270 would involve Michigan.
Sorry, y'all. We are all
listening. I'm listening.
Yeah.
Would get them to 269.
So Biden just won Illinois.
District of Nebraska, if they could get it, would be 270. So to keep that in mind, because these electoral college scenarios, we've been playing around with so many of them the last few months, and as Donald Trump early on has some success in these big states we flagged at the beginning of the night, this is one folks have talked about. Is there a scenario where 269 comes into focus? We've always talked about what would happen then, or is Biden able to actually get that district, and that presents a path for him? It wouldn't require him to win Pennsylvania.
That is crazy. I mean,
wow. These projections are something else, man.
The way this system works all around.
It's amazing. It's amazing, man. I mean, and they keep on doing these. If you win this, if you win that, if you win this.
I don't know what this will, because the funny thing is the polls tell us a lot about how things lean more liberal, but liberals don't vote with the veracity and the passion that conservatives do.
Right.
So we have opinions about things, but we don't activate them where it's most necessary, I guess is the best way to say it. I just don't see. I mean, I don't know what the West Coast is going to give.
They just said Trump is projected winner of Nebraska.
Yeah.
118, 105 Biden.
Man, it's going to be a long week, man.
Man, listen, I don't know, Doc.
It's going to be a long week.
Hey.
It's going to be a long week.
It is, man. I know we'll come back on, and when this is all over, and do a quick pop-up, and I mean,
I don't know why I thought Florida was going to be closer, but I mean, Arizona looks like it's breaking for Biden. That's good news.
That's real good news.
Don't know where, PA and Michigan are big toss-ups, because I don't know if the urban areas have really been accounted for strongly. Lindsey Graham kept his seat after that black dude gave him a run for his money. Harrison. Scott Heater made a great point. One of our best watchers and listeners.
Oh.
It says it all, Scott.
Yes,
who is most vocal, not necessarily who is most active.
I like it, Scott. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, we're coming up on the hour mark. Any thoughts you want to leave us with?
Well, man, I think right now the most we can do is pray and get some rest. And I'm sure when we get up in the morning, I'm sure when we get up in the morning and turn the news on, something else will be them broke.
Yeah. If we go to sleep.
I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna let my wife gonna stay up all night. She'll wake me up about 3 o'clock in the morning and tell me something.
I'm with you, man. I mean, I'm a night owl myself, man. So I'll be up. I mean, it's gonna be really dependent on that so-called blue wall.
Listen, man, this is America. You know, we love y'all, man, and
Trumbull County, deep. I mean, Trumbull County is deep. It's probably worse than before. About the same.
What is it saying about Trumbull County?
We are deep in the red, man. We are deep red. We are crimson. We're in the crimson flood.
We the Ohio State of the crimson. And yeah, once again, man, it's like you said, like we always say, man, you got a lot of Trumbull County, man. Lordstown and Kinsman and Ashtabula, not Ashtabula, but
Howland, Cortland, Bezetta.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a lot. You know, I just really hope our other Midwestern states. I just can't fathom, honestly, a man coming to an area. And I know my story. They should have put me on a commercial as a pastor and say, a man coming to an area and saying, don't sell your house and I'm going to save all your jobs. And every single family that works for GM that went to my church lives in another state now.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I don't know.
You are right about that, Doc. You came right here and said it.
So they're projecting that, you know, Biden can still win, obviously taking all of the West Coast, basically with Arizona, and then he'd have to get Michigan, Wisconsin, and he can win it without Pennsylvania. You know, so I think Biden will take it. That's still my opinion. I just hate that it's so close and it might come down to a contention. That's what I hate, because I think that's the danger for our nation. Not that Trump won't narrowly lose, because he deserves to lose. He has such a strong, and as Scott said, quiet contingency of strong supporters, but it's so close. Now I'm more worried about the contention.
Right.
Right.
Because that would definitely bring an uproar and an uprise. With it being that close, and that's what we wanted. We wanted to win and win big, and you know, show America that we're making a stand and taking a stand, and obviously,
and
it's just not happening.
We got a long ways to go. So, Jeff, it's a pleasure talking with you, man. It's great to be able to share our conversations with the world, with the 6 people watching right now. You know what I'm saying? And President Harrison, of course, our guest of honor. Leah being on, we appreciate her being on with us. So we are hoping to see, I know I'm a Biden guy. I'm hoping to see a positive outcome. But we'll see in the morning, won't we?
We said, I told my wife when Trump got
something that's going on. He says something is going on. Might be.
Yeah, because he didn't claim that win like they said he was gonna do. He hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, he hasn't done it yet. But I mean, I think he's got to wait for a few more things to break for him to say. I think a few more things have to break for him to say that.
All right, man. Well, you have a blessed night, man, and I'm sure we'll be talking tomorrow morning.
Same to you, man. Same to you. Take care.
Yes,
this is Religiously Incorrect. Like, share, follow, pray.
Please.
Peace out.